Hello! In this video I'm going to show you how to create a nice 3D video for your presentation. In a previous video I showed you how to create a task list to separate the trabecular region from the cortical region. This is the total bone, the original data set, and this is the selection of only the region of interest containing only trabecular bone, and this is the result we got. So if you want to, you can check it out on my previous video. You will have everything you need to create your own task list. From this one I have saved two data sets separately, separating the trabecular region from the cortical region, and now I'm going to use another software called Avizo to show you how to create a nice presentation for your project. So first of all, I'm going to open the data set. This is the cortical region. I will apply a clipping plane. Keep it like here, not show. And now I'm going to include the other data set, trabecular. Let's create some color. I'll use those predefined colors. Let's say this one. Make it a bit stronger. And this data set here is the trabecular. Oops. Let's make a different color. Okay. Okay, as you see here, we have the two data sets, two objects that are in different colors. The reason I created this, one of them first, I opened one first, and then I opened a visualization using the volume rendering, and then I chose for the clip planing before opening the second data set. And this is only because I wanted to have the possibility to crop them separately, as you see here. So I will just turn this around and keep like this. Okay. So we have the two data sets here. Now I will apply some rotation in this one and in this one. As they are two separate data sets, I want to make sure that I have for both of them. And you come here and you use this B box center. It will centralize the object and make it rotate around the center so it brings the center to the origin of the object. And this one I want to rotate around the Z plane. So if you see here and I rotate this, it is going to, oops, here, rotate just one of them. So I have to do the same for the other one. Okay, both of them will rotate together. Still preparing for the creation of the video. I will add a translate here. You can always search like this. So for the two of them, this one is for the cortical and this one is for the trabecular. So let's see what happens if I add an endpoint of, for example, 200 pixels, and then I move. This is going to move up. So I can actually move this one up, or if I want to move down, I make minus. That looks okay. So let's make minus 400 so that it moves a little bit more. It's not enough yet. Okay. That's not good. I want to move it up because I don't want it to look like it's inside. Okay. So I move this one up, and at the same time I can move this one, let's say, to the left. Let's see if this one goes to the left. Okay, it's coming this direction. Let's make another on the Y, and then it goes more or less to the right. Okay, now we can start creating the video. Remember that you have 1 minute here, and you can always decrease this or increase the time. So make sure if you finish your project around, for example, 40 seconds, make sure that you drop this one to 40 seconds so that you don't have a video with 1 minute that is not happening anything in the end. So in my video, the first thing I'm going to do is, position your sample, your object, the two objects where you want to start. So I'm going to position more or less like this. I hope it works. The first thing I want to do is the rotation. So I want both of them to rotate together so that it doesn't seem that I have two different objects. I want to show just one thing. And when you get the animation producer, you will have these options that will show up here. There's this clock, and you can always click this one and you have the options that are available on this line. So in this case here, I want to change the value, so I will choose for the value, and then it creates a seed here in the timeline. And this seed will be the start point of my movement. And if I want it to rotate, in this case here, it's going to rotate 360 degrees if I drag from 0 to 1, if I drag my slider from 0 to 1. So you see one of them is rotating, don't worry. So I want it to rotate, for example, for 10 seconds. So I will move my cursor to 10 seconds and then move it to the end position and add another seed. So you see that there is no line, no dark line here, so something is wrong, something didn't work well, and I can check it here. So this is showing 1 here, position 1, and also here is showing 1. So this one should be 0. Actually, when I created this one, I was in 0, but then I changed to 1 to show you, and I forgot to move back to 0. So I can always come here and type myself 0, and then it creates this. So if you drag here, it's going to show what's happening in between 0 and 10 seconds. I will do it for the second object, the trabecular region. So I go to 0, I add in 0, I add a value, and then I bring to 10, and I bring this one to 1, and add a value. So now it created the path, and everything is rotating together. So this is the first part of my video. I will have a full rotation of 360 degrees. Next step is I want to make a clipping plane of one of them so that I can remove the cortical bone. So I can do like this. So I want to start here. So in the second 10, I will add a seed. So this is in the position 100, that's the position I am now. And this one, it creates another seed here in the starting point with the same value so that it doesn't create any movement in between. And I can make it, for example, 16 seconds, and during this 6 seconds it's going to move all the way down, and I add another seed here, it's creating here, and I want to move it backwards again another 6 seconds, so I end up in 22, and from here I go back here. Okay, now I have the cropping going down and then up, so I'm just moving backwards. Another thing I can include here is I can always change the position, like moving like this. Move this one to here. If I want to increase the time, I can increase like this. I can always make them overlap, like in the last, for example, 2 seconds, and make it even like this. So when I come here, I start to crop. It's almost impossible to notice, but still it crops. For example, during my rotation, I can always, for example, go to the cortical one, and here I can play with the alpha scale. For example, if I move like this, I make it vanish. So I can come here and add a marker here. This is here, you can always see on the left side here. And at the second 4, I add in the position 1, and let's say that I want to go all the way moving until I get to almost disappear like this, and then I end up here. Another thing you can do is when you click on the seed, you have this option here that is not going to show here, but you can move your wheel in the mouse to see how it is going to interpolate. And it's nice to have something. I want to have it a little bit faster in the beginning, so I can use this one. So let's see what happens. While it's rotating, it's changing color until it disappears. And if I just leave it, it's going to keep like this, and then it's going to crop from there. So I don't want this, let's move it here. So from this one I can, I want to go back to the same one while it's still rotating. Let's do a longer rotation here, and I want to go back here in alpha equals 1, and then I add again here, it's connecting here, and then I move this one here, this one like a little bit smaller like here. Okay, so we have so far rotation, disappearing the cortical, appearing again, and now cropping back, and I stop here. Now I want to make the translation of the individual objects, and this one I have set to 800. If I start from here, it's going to move up. Let's make a little bit more. So it's going to move up. That looks nice. Okay, I start from this point here. I add. It is down here, and then in the end I will end up here. Add another time value, and I want to do the same when I am here. No, not actually. It can be shorter. And from here I still want to make it more. I will change it here to maybe 2000. Okay, and from this point I want to move this one to the left. It is going too much in that direction. Okay, now it's more. Well, let's increase both of them. Okay, this is not going to be perfect because I don't want to waste too much time here. So from this point I will add another value. Oops, it's here. It is here. Okay, and then it moves to the side. Here, and then I add another time value, and I want this one to go back into place. So from this point I will add the same position, so there is nothing happening in between here, but I want it to go back here, and then I add, oops, I shouldn't have done this. I should have kept here and then chosen the end point. Now yes. Okay, and what I can do now is I can always also disappear with this cortical from this point. Make it disappear very fast. And then now we are with this one, and we can move this one back into the same position. Let's make this one larger. And now we go to the same position. There is nothing happening in between. And now I will move this one back to the middle like this and add the time frame. And I can of course rotate again this one. I don't need to worry about the cortical because the cortical is already there. So he created another point here in the same line as the rotate, and I can rotate backwards now. Until here. And that's it. I can finish 1 second later or 2 seconds later, so that I just have the image stopped there. And here it looks like it's going to be kind of tedious, one waiting for the other. They can overlap, of course, always overlap, like this movement with this disappearing, and then there's one moving. Okay, let's make it overlap a little bit here. And here is overlapping, and here it can overlap again. And it can disappear before, so that it doesn't seem that it's going to touch. Okay, now let's render the video and see if it's going to be okay. Remember that when you want to render, you come here and then you can choose where you want to save it, and I want to save it in the same place, so I'll have it here. And remember to change the name. And here you have some options, but I want to keep resolution as the viewer, so this is the size of your video. There is a lot of things on the sides, I don't want to keep this, so if you decrease like this, it's going to adjust. Another thing is you can always change the background. You can come here and have an uniform background. You can have a gradient. Remember also to include the scale bar if you want. I have put the resolution pixel size in the beginning, so it is going to be accurate. Here I like to remove this one, remove the ticks, make the X smaller, position this one more or less here. It can be even smaller, and I'm using micrometers. You could change the units in the options or in the preferences. Here I can make it a bit thicker. It looks okay. So this is going to be like that. Okay, that's fine. Let's create our movie and wait. It takes a while to render.